Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. So today we are back with another makeup and movie Monday. So today I'm here to talk about a film that I have loved for a very long time. You can probably see by my t-shirt and you can tell by the title, of course. But yeah, today we're talking about Watchmen, and I just want to show you guys the different formats I have this in because you're probably going to laugh. So I have the DVD, I have the Blu-ray, I have the director's cut, and lastly I have a naughty version that I probably should not have, but I have the ultimate cut on like a fake copy or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, we're talking about Watchmen today. I'm going to be talking about the kind of origins and just about the whole film in general. I'm not going to concentrate too much on the comic or the TV show because I actually haven't seen the TV show yet, so I have no idea what it's like, but I've heard good things. But yeah, let's just start with the makeup. I've already primed because I used a priming spray, which is the Glow Like a Pro in like the cranberry primer, which is super nice. It's very nice. But yeah, let's just get on with it. So let's talk about Watchmen. So originally, it's a comic by Dave Gibbons and Alan Moore, and it was kind of made and published in 1986 into 1987. I was about to say not 1997 because that would have been a very long time. But yeah, it came out in different parts. So it came out essentially in like different volumes. And yeah, and became like essentially a big graphic novel. And it's actually known to be like essentially like the best, like the greatest graphic novel of all time, which in my opinion I agree with. And I'm not being biased because I'm like obsessed with this comic slash film. But yeah, the movie itself came out in 2009, so it has been quite a long time since the film came out. And I remember them talking about like years beforehand when they were like, oh, this movie is this comic is unfilmable. I never kind of understood that concept, unfilmable, because I feel, you know, if you can make something like Superman, where you have a man flying, you can make a movie on Watchmen. Essentially, like the whole dystopia about it. That's probably what they meant around it. Maybe not like the political aspect of it, but everything else kind of around it. So when you think about like when it came out, it's, you know, it was kind of done really well in my opinion. I know there's a lot of people who are not big fans of it, but that's not me. I mean, if you're not a fan of the film adaptation, please let me know. There's aspects of it I find a bit odd, which I will get into, like mostly the casting. But other than that, I think everything else is pretty damn good. But yeah, the film is directed by Zack Snyder, who is known more for kind of like 300 and, you know, kind of, I can't remember if Sucker Punch was before or after, but I don't like Sucker Punch anyway. Um, but yeah, you know, and more recently known for the Justice League and Man of Steel. So you can tell he's a big comic book fan by, you know, just constantly adapting comic book movies. But when it comes to Watchmen itself, it's kind of hard to describe like the whole storyline because it's so long. The graphic novel itself is a very long book, and the film, like these different versions I have, like originally, it's like the original kind of version is just over 3 hours, I believe, and then everything else is kind of like the director's cut, and then the ultimate cut is a long is a long film. Like I think the director's cut is, let's have a look on the back of it actually. So the director's cut is 186 minutes. I don't know what that is in like hours because I'm terrible at maths. And then I'm pretty sure the ultimate cut is at least 4 hours. And the difference is what you would kind of guess. I mean, let me talk about the actual concept. So it's about a bunch of like vigilante superheroes who are no longer superheroes, but there was a murder. There's been a murder, um, of the comedian. So this guy right here, he is part of the Minutemen, which were like the original kind of vigilante superheroes, um, and one of them being Silk Spectre, which is, let me see if I can, without flashing, nope. um, this girl right here, that's her mum. So, yeah, they were a bunch of vigilantes during like the kind of, I think it's like the First World War. Um, and yeah, and then they kind of broke up, and a lot of them kind of like died under weird circumstances and stuff like that. If you haven't read the book or watched the film, this is like spoilers, whatever. I mean, this film and book has been out for, well, the book's been out for like 30 years. So, I mean, if you're not going to read it anytime soon, I mean, now's the time to read it. But yeah, so the comedian is killed, and essentially they think it's like a robbery and everything. But then there is Rorschach, who is, without, I'm not going to flash you this time, which is this guy with the weird face. He is kind of one of the last remaining Watchmen who hasn't gone kind of underground and just kind of given up being a vigilante, like a superhero. And he's kind of like, oh, you know, he was murdered, and they're kind of killing off the old superheroes and watch out, blah, blah, blah. And everyone else is kind of thinking that he's a bit paranoid and they think he's a bit crazy, which he kind of is. But yeah, it's just a kind of story around, it's what I'm saying is very like dumbed down version of the actual storyline, because it's so crazy, it's so like a big universe. But yeah, it's just about like the Watchmen themselves trying to kind of see what's happening, like getting to the bottom of, you know, is there a murder out there? Is there, you know, someone killing old superheroes and stuff like this? And without kind of giving too much away, even though I said it's like no spoilers, I mean, it's just spoilers. I just love this book and this film so much. I think when I went to the cinema to see it, I think I saw it about 3 or 4 times. But saying that, since it's been out on DVD, I've watched every version about 100 times each. And I know it's a lot for one person to have 4 different versions of one film, but they're all very different. So also in the comic, there is a mini comic inside called The Black Freighter, which is kind of like, when you think about it, it's kind of a thought process on life. I don't know if I'm just chatting shit or whatever, but the whole kind of point of the Black Freighter is, a guy has gone out to sea, and his ship has been attacked by pirates, and he has to kind of go back to his family, because he thinks that they're going to be murdered, and you know, all this kind of weird stuff is like playing on his mind. But then it all kind of intertwines into the story as well, which is, you know, amazing, because the fact that there's like a comic within a comic, and the Black Freighter as a comic itself is pretty amazing. And it's definitely like, would be amazing by itself. And you can actually get, so in the film, in kind of like the director's cut and the ultimate cut, you can see the Black Freighter as like an animated movie, which is actually narrated by Gerard Butler, who is, in 300, if you've seen 300, and like PS I Love You and stuff like that. But yeah, he essentially does like the voice, I think he does the voice of like all the characters in Black Freighter, which is pretty cool. You can, like, I actually had that on separate DVD, but when I moved, I was like, it's time to kind of get rid of it, because it is part of, I'm pretty sure it's part of the director's cut and it's part of the ultimate cut as well. But yeah, the Black Freighter is pretty amazing, and really interesting to have like another comic aspect in comic. And basically just the whole film itself is very difficult, because I think when it came out, I don't think a lot of people had like appreciated it. I don't know if it's really more of a cult film now, because like I said, there's like a TV show, and then there's been, yeah, there's like the whole Watchmen thing with the DC comics. Like when I was still working at a comic shop, it was kind of just coming out. I think it was Doomsday, because one of the main points of Watchmen is that the Doomsday clock is edging closer to like total annihilation, as they call it, which essentially happens in the comic, which is set off by Dr. Manhattan when it's, spoilers, Ozymandias, who's like one of the main Watchmen characters as well. But the movie is, for me, I think when I first watched it, I had just finished reading the comic as well, because I think when I saw that the film was coming out, I decided to read the comic. I used to be one of those people. I'm just like, oh, I don't really know much about this film. I'm gonna check out the comic first. And honestly, the comic is one of the like most insane, beautiful things. I wish I had my copy with me. I don't know where it is, but I have like the absolute edition as well, which is like that big. It's massive, and I have it signed by David Gibbons as well, and he did like a Rorschach drawing for me, which is amazing. um, but yeah, Alan Moore doesn't have his name towards the comic anymore. I thought I'd just bring that in there. So if you ever kind of meet Alan Moore, don't talk to him about Watchmen, because he'll probably tell you to piss off. But he's one of those kind of writers who writes these amazing stories and sells the rights to have them as movies, but then doesn't like the movies because they haven't been true to the concept, which is always going to happen. So for him, obviously, something like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, a lot of people hated that movie. It like really badly panned, and he was just like, "This is shit." And V Vendetta as well. Like I think he just does not like that movie, even though that movie is freaking amazing. If you haven't seen V Vendetta or even read it, please do. It's a fantastic read. Um, and what else am I thinking of? But no, Watchmen. We're here to talk about Watchmen. Um, but when it came out, I think it just got such a weird mixed review. But I personally am a big fan of it. I'm just going to get the lips on, and then we'll talk more about the film. Gone for a purple look today. I'm not sure why. I should have gone for a blue look for Dr. Manhattan, but I thought purple is the way. I got this the other day. This is terrible. I got this for £1, and I can see why. It's a sheer lipstick, but not a big fan of that lip, but that's fine. But yes, the film. So just a scary face. But yeah, I think when it comes to the casting, I honestly think like Jeffrey Dean Morgan is perfect as a comedian. Jackie L. Haley as Rorschach is perfect. In the beginning, I wasn't too sure about Patrick Wilson as Night Owl, but I've kind of come to grow him, like, and come to like appreciate him more, because of the whole concept of Dan's character. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of Melaine Ackerman's Silk Spectre, because I just, her acting is just not really not really there for me. And oh God, his name just went out of my head, but who plays Ozymandias, he's not that great. Matthew something. I'll think of it another time. Yeah, he's okay. Not that amazing. But Billy Crudup as, I don't know if I say his name properly, as Dr. Manhattan is fantastic. Like that whole blue suit thing, which if you haven't seen what he looks like, it's a big blue man with a blue penis. I find that so strange when when you're like watching it in the cinema. I think I remember the second time I watched it was in the IMAX in London, which is like one of the biggest screens in London, and I was sitting quite close to the front, and you just had this penis in your face. This is one of the weirdest concepts ever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have progressed, if I've actually like spoken about the film very well. If you have any questions about the film or the comic, let me know. If you recommend watching the TV show, I really, really want to check it out. I've heard very good things. I think there might be a season 2 happening, which I hope so, because I think this first season has done so well. But the movie itself, I think, is amazing. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. If you've got a spare like 3-4 hours, check it out, because it's just beautiful. I think everything kind of around it just works so well. The ending is a little bit different than the comic, but I mean, you don't know if you could have a really big squid taking over the world, um, just killing people. So I think the bomb that they had worked very well. But yeah, the movie is just amazing. So if you haven't checked out Watchmen, please do. And that is my makeup and movie Monday movie. If you guys have any kind of recommendations of films that you want me to talk about, I'd happily do that. I'm trying to do a better job of this because I'm trying to talk about my passion, talk about the film, and do makeup at the same time. Let me know if you enjoyed it. If you think it was rubbish, let me know. If you think it was rubbish, I won't take it personally. I just know to do better. But thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, or if you just like me, like and subscribe because I upload videos every time I get a chance to. And I really appreciate you guys checking my videos. And I will see you very soon. Bye.